In this video, we're going to talk about how to use your Desmos calculator that's built into your Lumen assignments. In this particular section, I'm focusing on the normal distribution and the various types of problems you need to use the calculator to solve. So first in this question, we can see that it talks about patient recovery time and it's normally distributed. So that phrase is very important to know that it's time to use the normal distribution. The mean of 5.4 and standard deviation of 1.7. So this tells us we're not using the standard normal, which would have a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. So we are going to use our graphing calculator to answer this question. And the great news is you could use a handheld graphing calculator for this, or we can click the button below the question that says calculator, and I'm going to pop that out on the screen. And you can see that this is our Desmos calculator. And it's a Desmos Graphing Calculator. You really don't need the graph part for this, but it does give you all the features for the normal distribution. So I'm going to show you how we're going to answer these three questions. Essentially, what you're working with here is finding the normal distribution or the normal probability for less than a value. The second piece is for more than a certain value. And the third piece is for between two particular values. These are very similar styled questions that you'll see quite often. So in this particular question, we're going to start with A, and we have a mean of 5.4 and standard deviation of 1.7. So here's how we use the calculator. In your Desmos calculator, you click the keypad right down here, and it brings up a standard looking keypad, but where we find the normal distribution part is over under functions. And you can see there's trig, stats, dist, misc. We're going to go to the distribution menu. We're going to click on normal distribution. And this particular command for normal distribution is going to produce a probability for us. What we want to do is in the parentheses, we're going to tell it the mean and the standard deviation separated by commas. That's what this little information below the command says. And then we also need to be sure to check the box that says find cumulative probability PDF or CDF, sorry. So I'm going to check that box. Up in the box, in the parentheses, I'm going to put my mean 5.4, comma, 1.7 for standard deviation. Now under cumulative probability, and you can see on the right if you'd like to see the graph of this, there's your normal distribution graph. What we're looking for is these particular ranges of the graph. Right now it's showing it from negative infinity to positive infinity, which clearly we don't want. So we want it to be less than 7. So that 7 is a max. So I'm going to put it on the 7 under max. Okay, and then if you you can take a look at the graph. This is the normal distribution graph to show the area less than 7 under that graph. And then here's the decimal for this probability value, 0.82669, and they say round our answers to the nearest tenth of a percent. So I'm going to shift my decimal to 82.66. So I'm going to type in 82.7. And then we're going to go to the second piece. What's the probability of spending more than 4 days in recovery? So we have the same setup, same normal distribution graph, but now it's more than 4. So I'm going to go to minimum and put 4. And I'm going to go in under max, and I'm going to delete the max because it will automatically change it back to infinity, which is really nice. And so from here, you can see the graph shows 4 and up. So this is the area that's being produced, 0.7948. 2 decimals over is 79.48. So it's going to be 79.5 because I'm rounding. And then the last piece of this is between 4 and 7. So I'm going to leave my minimum at 4, go to my max of 7. And now you can see the graph shows between two values, 0.6215. That's the area between those two values, which makes a lot of sense because of our understanding from the empirical rule, how much percentage is in the center of that graph. So I'm going to slide the decimal to the right, 62.15, making it 62.2. I have to move my calculator to find the box. 62.2, and we'll close this down, and I'll check my answer. Hopefully we got all green. There we go. Okay, so now on the next question, for the next question, we need to be able to find the z-score. Notice here it says probability z less than c is equal to 0.5895. What this means is 0.5895 is that area of the graph we just looked at. C is that z-score that's being cut off, the cut score, that has 0.5895 below it. That's what that z less than c is indicating. So again, we're going to go in our graphing calculator, make it bigger, and I'm going to bring up my keypad. So now we need the calculator to do something in reverse. The normal distribution function gives us probability or area every single time. But now we need it to work backwards from an area and give us that z-score or the cutoff score. So I'm going to go in my functions. I'm going to go under distribution. And this time, yep, if I can find that to stay up, try that again. And this time, I want it to work backwards, and backwards in math is usually an inverse. So I'm going to hit inverse. So this is inverse CDF. This is kind of a generic command that gives you the reverse for a lot of different cumulative density functions or these distributions. So we need to tell it what we mean. So the next thing is we're going to give it the normal distribution command. So now we've told the calculator, work backwards, normal distribution. We're going to put in our mean and standard deviation again. And because this is asking for a z-score, we're talking about standard normal. I just X'd it out, so I'll try that again. We're using standard normal. And so, let me try this again. Inverse, then I go to functions, and I go to normal distribution. Standard normal is 0, 1. That is mean of 0, standard deviation of 1, close the parentheses. So this is the first of the parameters you're putting in. You're telling it where which distribution to look under. Next, we need the area, 0.5895. We'll see if I can get it to do it without erasing it this time. Okay, so inside that outer parentheses, so we've got the parentheses around inverse CDF, comma, putting in 0.5895, and if you like, you can ask it to show you the graph of this. Well, maybe it's not showing me the graph. Well, let's not worry about that. So this is the z-score, 0.226. That would have that cutoff. All right, so we're going to try it. Okay, and so you can use your Desmos calculator for all of your normal distribution work. The normal distribution command gives you probabilities. The inverse CDF of normal distribution command, notice how it goes through. That one gives you back the cut score or the z-score that is separating that area under the curve. So I hope this has helped you to understand the normal distribution on your Desmos calculator.